Hello! Today we're going to introduce to you the GreenRhino 6000, the highest resolution egg printer in the world. To start the printing process, first we'll insert the cartridges into the machine. So remove the cartridge from the box and remove it from the package. And then take the cover from the print head off. Just remove this cover. And there's a cap here to allow the airflow into the cartridge. So remove this cap. And then remove this tape from over the printer head. And now you can test the flow of the ink. So take a piece of tissue and put it against the ink head with slight pressure. And you can see if there is a complete rectangle, then you know that the ink flow is correct and you can insert the cartridge into the machine. But also check if there's any bleeding, because sometimes it will take a few seconds for the pressure to equalize. So if there's any bleeding, just wipe it off until the flow is correct, and then you can introduce it into the machine. Next, put the cartridge into the machine, place it in, and then check to see that the alignment is all correct, and then snap it into place. When inserting the cartridge into the machine, it's important to make sure that this contact base is aligned with the pins. So make sure that it's aligned so that you avoid damaging the pins. Then turn on the machine and check to be sure that each of the lights on each of the cartridges is flashing and the machine is ready to start. Now we're ready to choose what we want to print on the eggs. So we have different ways we can input the data. We can use Ethernet or we can use a USB port. So we'll use a flash drive in our USB port. Okay, let's say for example we want to print a picture on our egg. So I'll touch picture and the frame and then load. Now this is reading the files I have on my flash drive. So I'll choose one of the files and I'll open the file and OK, this is the one I want. I'll click OK. Now it's larger than the screen, so I can reduce it by pushing the reduce. And we'll continue to make it smaller. Let's say I want it to fit the screen. So that looks like a good size. Now say I want to add some text to maybe explain my product. So I'll click here on text and touch the screen. And now we can add the text that we want. Maybe I want to have, these are omega, let's say omega-3 eggs, and I'll enter. So now we have our text here, and I would like to make that bigger, so I'll enlarge it here. And we have our omega-3 eggs there. And now, say we want to put the date that we're printing our eggs today. So here we have the date. I'll click on the date. And there. Now we have different formats. We can have year, month, day, day, month, year. So here in the States, I'll put it for month, day, year. I'll choose this format. And OK. Now we have the date. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger, and we'll center it down here in the corner. And now we have our image that we want to print on our eggs. And now we can save the file, and we'll give it a name. Let's call it omega-3. And enter, and now save the file, and our file is saved. There are some parameters that we can set for the system. So we'll touch system, and for example we can choose the language. We have English, Chinese simplified, or traditional. And The counters often are set by the factory. And another important level is the concentration level. And this controls the density of the printing. So we have 12 different levels. So 12 is a denser print, or you can choose a lighter print. For example, if you're in a high humid environment, you might want to choose a lower level and adjust it to the quality that you want. You can also choose which print heads you want to print. The second page, print head selection. So now we have all 6 heads printing. But if you only want to have maybe 1 row printing, you can turn these off and choose 1, or you can have 2 rows, 3 rows, and just turn the heads on and off as you choose. After you've chosen the heads that you want printed, click OK, and that will save your settings. Now we'll go back and say, for example, you forget your settings, or you want to start over. You can reset the settings by going to Device and push Restore the default settings and click OK, and that will go to your default settings. And if you want to change the date or the time, for example, maybe the date, we didn't have it set right, we'll go to the System and we'll go to the Date. And here we have the date and the time. So we have the year 2016, and maybe we want to put today is the 12th. Okay, 12th. So we have the 12th and the date today. Let's say we want to set it, maybe today's the 4th. So we'll set it for the 4th. So now we have the date is 2016, December 4th. And the time, we can do the same thing. We can set the time, maybe we want it maybe 4 o'clock, and just set the time to what we want, and then click OK to save our settings. Now let's say, for example, we don't like the font. Maybe we want to change the font. So we can go up here and we can choose a different font. Maybe we like this one. We could also adjust the size here. We can either enlarge it, small, or we can go here and choose a size. So either way, we can change the font or the size. If you have a different font or a special font that you want to add, you can go to the System and click Font, and you can here add an external font, and then anything that you want to put in, you can add. If we want to import or export a file, just go to the System and File Management, and we can either import or export. Let's say we want to export our file. We want to take our omega-3 file here and export it. So I'll push Open, and now the file has been successfully exported. Or you can import a file the same way. Just click on Import, and let's say we want to choose this file and open it. And now that file has been successfully imported. So, okay. If you go to the printer, you will see that there are 3 parameters which control the location of the printing. So the first one is the print window width. And this shows a standard width of a printing window on the egg. It would be about 21 millimeters. If it's longer than that, it will start to print down the side of the egg. The second parameter is the trigger delay. This is when the tray comes into the machine. There is a detector which will detect the tray coming in, and it will delay until it reaches the printing head. So that parameter is set for these trays at 67 millimeters. And then the third parameter is the egg interval. This is the distance between the 2 eggs, and this is also set according to a standard tray. Another printer parameter which you can change is the size or shape of the trays that you use. So you can go to the secondary, and this shows the print column number. So for our standard tray, we have it set for 5 columns. but if you choose to use a different size tray, you could set it to 6 columns or other columns. But the machine comes set as a standard 5 columns. Now if you need to clean the printer head, you can push on clean, and you have different choices. There's a weak cleaning, a middle cleaning, or a strong cleaning. You can choose which one you want. Now these parameters are set in the printer settings, and from the factory, if you go to the manual cleaning, you'll see that a weak cleaning is set at 200, middle at 500, and strong cleaning at 1,000 times. This is 1,000 tiny droplets that are forced through the printing head for each cleaning time. You can set the auto cleaning parameters by going to the printer, choosing auto cleaning, and you can set the cleaning cycle. It's now set at 50 microdots per cleaning, and you can set the cleaning interval. For example, in a drier environment where the heads could dry out quicker, you would have a shorter interval, like every 1 or 5 minutes. Or in a more humid environment, maybe every 15 minutes is sufficient. And then be sure to have the cleaning on. And another method you can use is you could have the cleaning done per every number of eggs. For example, you could set it every 3 dozen eggs or every 4 dozen eggs. And then you can have the printing start before, you can clean before the printing, or you could also have the cleaning during the printing. So then we will have our settings. Once you have the printer parameters set, you can set the tray alignment bars. So take one of the trays and set it along the forward bar and look at the printer heads to see that the printer head is aligned with the eggs. Then you can move the tray back a bit and set the far side by moving it till you have about a 2 millimeter gap, just enough to align the trays, and then tighten down the clamps. So what you see printed on the egg is a nice high-resolution image of exactly what you have set on the screen.